How you doing? This is Coach Carlo. And today we want to do a mini talk, and this mini talk is looking to the hills. So let me read the scripture. This is Psalms 21:1. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Indeed, he who watches over Israel neither slumbers or sleeps. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. Now, what are we saying? When we're talking about looking to the hills. It says, look to the hills. I lift up my eyes to the hill. Where does my help come from? Your help, when we're looking to the hills, we're talking about your imagination. And it says that my help comes from the Lord. Now, a lot of times when we're looking towards the hills in the physical realm, we're looking for outside resources to bring salvation. But this scripture clearly says that my help comes from the Lord. I like to say that the Lord is the law of right decree. What are you saying morning, noon, and night? Whatever it is that you're giving your attention to, that's what you're manifesting in your life. So when we're talking about looking to the hills, we're talking about going into imagination. What is it that you're contemplating? What is it that you're thinking about? What is it that you're constantly giving your attention to? Because depending upon what that is, you're determining what's going to be manifested in your life. As Mr. Linder will often say, we're always thinking ahead of our evidence. So the evidence is the byproduct or the fruits in our lives. So now, if we're not happy with the fruits, the results in our life, then we begin to change our focus when we look to the hills and again in our imagination. Often when we meditate, we close our eyes and we look upward about 15 degrees or here where our forehead is. We call that the third eye. And that's when we begin to envision, visualize, imaginate, use our imagination to begin to see the life that we desire. As we begin doing that with feelings, we begin to outpicture that into our world of experience. And as we do that repeatedly, then we find that our life is transformed. As we begin living from the in or occupying the state, then that's what we will begin to experience in our lives. Most of us think that the world without creates our reality, but the world within is always the beginning of all creation. As we begin seeing in our imagination what it is that we desire to have, do, and be, then we begin living that out in the physical realm called reality. But spirit, imagination is always first cause. Anything that you see around you started off as somebody's imagination, a dream, a vision, and they begun to move forward and turn that thing into a reality. But everything starts first and foremost in the mind first. So it says, I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Now, when we talk about heaven, heaven's the imagination. It says, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Heaven, imagination is always first cause. The kingdom of heaven is within you. So when we're talking about the kingdom, we're talking about heaven. Heaven is your imagination. So it says that we're to bring heaven on earth. If we're not living heaven on earth, then we must be doing its opposite. And some would say that that's hell. So in order to begin living the life that you desire, you must begin with your thoughts, creator. And as you begin to, in imagination, lift up your eyes to the hills in imagination, where does my help come from? My help comes from the law of right decree or the Lord. As I decree a thing, then it is done unto me. We have what it is that we say. So, what is it that we're saying morning, noon, and night? And it says here, the maker of heaven and earth. So, imagination makes forth your heaven and then it manifests in your earth. It says, indeed, he who watches over Israel. Israel means the man, the woman who walks as God. When you begin to understand that in your imagination, thoughts create things, then you become a God amongst men. Everybody has this power, but not everybody understands that they own this power. So many people are living as if it's the life without that's determining who it is that they will be, do, and have. But it's always first and foremost in one's imagination. When you begin to change your imaginal scene, you begin to change your life. And it's only until you change your imaginal scene that your life can be transformed or changed. It says, the maker of heaven and earth, he who watches over Israel, the man, the woman who walks as God or lives as God, he will neither slumber, imagination never sleeps, the sun will not harm you. So during the day, if you understand that imagination is always creating, the sun will not harm you, nor by night when you're sleeping in slumber, neither will the moon harm you, because you understand that all things start first and foremost in one's imaginations. So as you look to the hills of your imagination, where does your help come from? It comes from the Lord, the law of right decree. As you decree a thing, you will discover that you have the power. This is Coach DeCarlo saying, have a great and abundant day.